Good morning and welcome back to Big Head Car Reviews, where today we're going to be reviewing the Mini Cooper S 2018. But before we start, there's one thing we must do, and that is, I say we, it's just me and my camera. I must thank you for all of you that have watched my videos, whether it be on YouTube so far, liked, commented, or on Instagram, that my trailer on Instagram, Harry Turner 93. I've had 3,339 views, but who's counting? But I'm generally overwhelmed with how many people have watched those videos. I thought it'd just be my mum, dad, nan, granddad, etc, etc, but 3,339 is ridiculous. So, just to remind you of what's going to happen today. I'm hoping I can get it all done in one day. I'm sure I can. Going to be reviewing the car on 5 different categories. Now, there is going to be some subcategories, which you'll see later on, but predominantly 5 categories out of 10, out of 50 overall. Just to remind you of those, we've got practicality, we've got performance, we've got price, which is a very interesting one. We've got running costs, and we've also got exterior and interior looks, feel, quality, all that sort of stuff. I'm so excited. I bet you can't wait either. Or maybe you can. But the next time you see me, we're going to be in the car apparently. And if by magic, we're in the car. My editing skills are pretty limited, as you can see. Now, before I do start, I must apologise for these horrendous sunglasses that I am wearing. It is just so sunny outside. It snowed in the UK last night. It's reflecting off the snow and it's blinding me. So you're going to have to put up with me wearing these sunglasses. So without further ado, let's get started. And I'm going to start with the 5 categories I'm going to obviously talk about. The first one I'm going to talk about is price. Now, to buy a Mini Cooper S with cash, it comes out at £21,000. That's the on-the-road price. Yes, you can get it cheaper than that. But in terms of the actual price on the spec sheet, it's £21,000. But like I said, very few people buy their cars that way. You've got leasing, you've got hire purchase, but you've got PCP. And I'm going to talk about PCP. Now, with PCP, it seems to be the most popular way to buy your cars. You're basically paying off the depreciation of the car. I could talk about PCP for years and years and years and years, but you're not going to want to watch that and you'll be asleep in 5 seconds. So all of these reviews on these hot super minis, I'm going to do a basic finance deal on the cars. I'm saying I'm going to do a finance deal. I'm just going onto the website, the manufacturer's website, not a dealership's website, using their finance calculator or an offer they've got on, and just working out what these cars cost per month if I put no cash in whatsoever, so 0 deposit going in, based on a 48-month agreement, and basing it on 10,000 miles a year. So, for example, this Mini Cooper S, not this exact one, but a Mini Cooper S, brand new, currently, Mini are offering no deposit going in whatsoever. Like I said, 10,000 miles a year, 48 months, £295 a month. That's a base deal on a basic spec car. You will be able to get it cheaper than that, without a doubt. So, it'd be interesting to know in the comments, do you think that's expensive? Do you think that's cheap? And it'll also be interesting to compare the other hot super minis with a 0 cash deposit, 48-month agreement, 10,000 miles a year. Don't you see where the monthly payments sort of come in? But £295 per month, no cash in. I think that's a really good deal. Okay, so moving on to performance. There's no better way to start than doing a launch control. Now, those of you who don't know what launch control is, or what launch control adds, say for example you were rating someone out of 10 for their looks and you were giving them a 9 out of 10, if you added launch control, there'd be a 9.5. Launch control is very unnecessary, but it's pretty cool to tell your friends about. So what you have to do for that, you have to put it into manual, put the gearbox into manual mode, you have to put it into sport mode, the actual car, the drivetrain, which sharpens the throttle, makes the steering wheel a bit heavier, makes the suspension a bit firmer. You have to turn the traction control off. It's shouting at me saying the traction's off. You put your left foot on the brake, you hold the accelerator down, it says launch control active, handbrake down, Harry, and go, 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 go. Oh, struggling for traction, struggling for traction, still struggling for traction, still struggling for traction. And there we go. Now, probably the worst day in the world to do a launch control start is the day when it's been snowing in the UK, but I just thought I'd show you that feature. So let's talk about the performance. Now, Let me just turn that traction control back on before we crash. So in terms of performance, let's go through the figures. Brake horsepower, 192. It's quite, and that's just obviously in standard form. In terms of 0 to 60, 6.7 seconds for the automatic version, or 6.8 seconds for the manual. Top speed is 146 miles an hour. Now, 146 miles an hour, you've got to have some serious vegetables to be going 146 miles an hour in a Mini. That's pretty impressive. It does 146, but I've been pretty fast in this car. I mean, I've been 70 mile an hour in this car now, and 70 mile an hour, it handles it really, really, really well. In terms of the pounds-foot of torque, because everyone likes to know about torque these days, no one actually understands it, but everyone wants to know, what's the torque figures, what's the torque figures? Well, it's got 206 pounds-feet of torque. Some people like it in newton meters. I think that will equate to maybe like 280 or 300 newton meters, but in pounds feet, it's 206. Now, as we just go around a very icy corner there, the other thing about this car, in terms of performance, I think it sounds fantastic. This is just a stock exhaust. That was in sport mode, but most of these Hot Super Minis, they don't sound great. Some of them sound like a normal car, some of them sound like a diesel, but this actually sounds very fruity indeed. So let me just put it into manual, drop it down into second gear, Harry, and I'm going to give this a bit of a squeeze and see what you think of this noise. So on it, I think it's great. I think in terms of sound, I think this car sounds absolutely superb. The other thing you get, which will not pick up on the camera, but I will get in some other shots, is it does pop and bang. And I'm not saying they're loud pops and bangs, but it does pop and bang and make a really, really good noise on the overrun. It also makes that little pop as you change gear as well, but you're not going to pick that up on the camera. If you go to one of my early YouTube videos where I did a launch control, you'll hear that sort of pop and bang. Tell you what I might do, as this road is rather quiet. No, there's someone there behind me. That's a shame. So in terms of overall performance, in terms of straight line speed, acceleration, this car is great. But I do want to base it just on acceleration, top speed, because it's all about how the car drives as well. So we know it's fast, we know it sounds good. Let's pop it into manual and let's go around some bends and see how it goes. Now it has been snowing, so I'm being brave. Now I'm only doing 30 mile an hour here because we're in a 30 zone. Let's see how it handles some of these bends around here. Let's go around this roundabout and see what we can. So okay, so struggling with traction, we're drifting. Not bad. Not bad. It doesn't understeer a great deal, this car. It's pretty planted. I think there's a little bit of three-wheel driving. I think one of these ears is definitely cocking in the air. One of these wheels is definitely cocking. But in terms of handling, it's the best car I've driven to date for handling. The wheelbase is just 2.5 meters. It only weighs 1,280 kilograms. It's a great starting point for a car, and a car that needs to handle well. So again, if we're going to give this a mark out of 10 for the sound, for the actual general performance, for the way it goes around bends and the handling, I think again I'm going to give it an 8.5. The reason I'm giving it an 8.5 is I think it could be more powerful. I genuinely think this car could be, like, again, as we go in this bend, I'm literally flooring it there, the traction is having none of it. I think it could be a little bit more powerful. It does feel a little bit limited in a straight line. But around the corner, in the bends, etc., it is fantastic and so much fun. I reckon an extra sort of 15-20 brake horsepower, this car would have been perfect. Yes, you'll be saying that you can get the JCW with an extra 30 odd brake horsepower, but it's just too much of a price jump. It's something like £5,000 or £6,000 more expensive, and it's not worth that whatsoever. So again, well done Mini. I'm going to give you an 8.5 for performance. Cracking. Okay, so let's talk about this car's interior. I'm going to keep this pretty brief because I could be here all day long. So, Let's start off with the steering wheel. It is very sporty, very chunky. The reason it is very sporty, very chunky, and the reason it says John Cooper Works is because this has got the automatic gearbox. And with the automatic gearbox, you get this fancy steering wheel as standard. Now, the actual normal Mini Cooper S standard, the Mini Cooper S standard steering wheel isn't that different. It just doesn't say John Cooper Works. You don't get this all fancy red stitching, and you don't get these paddles, especially obviously in the manual gearbox version, but generally it's pretty much the same. That's really nice. This revometer and speedo is also very nice, with a digital speedometer with your trip computer, etc, etc. You can go through many different options. I quite like the one that tells you how fast you're going, even though I only do 70 mph maximum. Moving on to just the rest of the interior, this looks great. I mean, for a car, I know it's £21,000, that's a lot of money, but it does look very German. The centrepiece is probably the party piece of the car. You can change this to many colours. Can't say that's my favourite, but there's something for everyone here. So you can really personalise this car, which is obviously one of the selling USPs of Mini, but we're going to get it back, put that back down to, hold on 1 second, let's get it down to the blue that I like. There it is. So you get blue there, but at night you see it more clearly. You also get blue in the door sills. You won't be able to see that at all. Sorry, not the door sills, the floor well. And you also get it in the door seals as well, which is quite nice, and the door handles, which is the inlay, sorry, which is quite nice. Rest of the interior, let's go for the seats. So again, lots and lots of leather around. This is the standard seat. There's two options for standard. You get this black leather with the grey, or the other one is absolutely awful, which is a half leather again, but it has this sort of like tartany material here, and I just couldn't get on with that. So genuinely, if we're going to give this interior a grading out of 10, well, it's tough not to give it a really high grade. I don't want to give it a 10, because that is far too high. It could be nicer. But most of the stuff you're seeing here is all standard spec. The screen is standard. You don't have to pay for that at all. So I'm going to give this interior a 9 out of 10. Well done, Mini. Okay, so quick, let's go for the exterior. Front looks amazing. The indicators are cool. The scoop's great. The black pack looks awesome. Cooper S badge in chrome. Petrol cap in chrome. And this light is just hilarious. Love it. To the rear then. If you're patriotic, you're going to love these lights. Didn't like them at the start, but they have grown on me like you would not believe. Under the windows, Mini. Why is it chrome? Why isn't it black? Hope you're listening. Exterior, 9 out of 10. Well done. Okay, so that moved me quite nicely onto the sensible stuff, and that is running costs. So these Hot Super Minis, they're supposed to do everything. And one of the main things about these cars is they are quick, but the fuel economy is just fantastic these days. Now, a lot of people will be thinking, many have now put a 2-litre turbo into this car rather than 1.6. Surely it's going to be thirstier. That's just not the case. With a 2-litre engine, bigger engine that's more torquey, you don't have to use the power quite so much, so you're not constantly on boost, which is not draining your fuel. Now, many will claim something stupid like nearly 60 miles to the gallon on a long journey, and it will claim 45 to 50 combined. Now, in the real world, that is not going to happen. You've got to be thinking more on normal motorway driving with a little bit of town driving. You're going to be getting between 35 and 40 miles to the gallon. I have taken it on a run where the average speed was probably around 50 miles an hour, so not like motorway journeys, and I managed to get 50 miles per gallon. But the way I had to concentrate to get that is that you wouldn't be driving like that naturally. So if you're going to base this car, I would say base it on between 35 and 40 miles per gallon. And that, again, for the performance that you get, is superb. So in terms of running costs, not that I've got anything to compare it to at the moment, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Well done, Benny. Okay, so good news, sunglasses off, don't look like such a lemon anymore. But that's where the good news ends, unfortunately, because I'm now going to talk about practicality, and I'm, of course, in the back seat. But I'm not in the back seat behind myself, I'm behind the passenger seat, and I do actually have some legroom. For a small journey, this wouldn't be the end of the world. And as you can see, the passenger does have a fair bit of legroom as well. In terms of headroom, my hair is touching the ceiling,
but it's not that uncomfortable. You know, I'm not slanting like you would in perhaps a coupe. I could go on a short journey like this in comfort, no problem at all. But the problem begins when you sit behind my driving position. As you can see, absolutely no legroom whatsoever. But if you're willing to chop your legs off to sit behind myself, or someone that's quite tall, then it's not a problem, but that's quite a serious thing just to get in the back of the Mini. So if there's someone tall driving, this then turns into a 3-seater car, which could be a problem for some people. Next time you see me, we're going to be looking at the boot. See you in a sec. Okay, so the boot, let's have a look. And what I've done is I've put a cabin bag size that you fit comfortably on a Ryanair plane in the boot, and that is the space that you've got left. Excuse the rubbish and the mud in there. I have put my golf clubs in here before. That's 211 litres. With the seats down, it does go completely flat. It goes into about 730 litres. But when you compare it to something like the Volkswagen Polo GTI, which is a proper competitor to this car, that has 355 litres in the boot, so considerably bigger, almost double, and 1120 litres when you put the seats down. So Mini, in terms of practicality, I don't know how I can score you any higher than a 4. Sorry, Mini.
Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. It is time to surmise and add up the scores. So, interior and exterior looks, we gave it a 9. There is room for improvement. I think in the exterior there could be some more black around some of the chrome edges. I know I've spec'd the black pack on the car, as you can probably tell. But I think we could have some more black on there, which would just finish it nicely against the blue. So a 9 out of 10, great score. Running costs, giving it a 7. Now what I didn't touch on in the video is that 44 litre fuel tank. It's quite small. So even if you get 40 miles to the gallon, which you won't, you're not even going to get 400 miles to a tank. So you will be visiting the petrol station quite regularly. So we've given it a 7 out of 10 there, but still good for the performance that you're getting. Practicality, I was harsh here, I was honest. But when you compare it just to one of its competitors, the Polo GTI, it's got only half the boot space of the Polo. So I had to give it a 4. Obviously the room in the back seats was minimal. Performance-wise, 8.5 out of 10. I'm not budging on that. I think that's a cracking score, but I think it's a cracking car. It's the best car, like I said, certainly to drive and in terms of handling, not in terms of speed, but the most fun you can probably have that I've driven so far. So 8.5 for that. And then finally, I didn't mention the score in the video, and that's price. The reason I didn't mention the score out of 10 is because I'm not sure exactly where the monthly payments on this car will fit against something else, whether it's an Audi S1, whether it's a 595 Abarth, whether it's a Suzuki Swift Sport, whatever it is, I'm not sure where the price will sit. So I've given it quite a conservative score, 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it's cheap at all, but remember that 295 is a base deal. They will be able to get it much cheaper than that for you. But I also don't think it's hideously expensive. I've bought a lot of cars for family, friends and myself through PCP. It's amazing how cheap you can get some of these cars when you push all the right buttons. So I'm just going to let this road sweeper go by because you won't be able to hear me. He's now gone. So total score for the Mini is 36 out of 50. Now, I don't think that's a bad score at all. I think it will always be interesting to see how the other cars compare to this. It will also be interesting to see what the John Cooper Works Mini would come out at, and we're talking a proper hot hatch there. But it'll be interesting to see where that scores against obviously this Mini scoring 36. Now, thank you very much for watching. Obviously, my editing skills, as you've probably seen, are still pretty poor, but they're better than they were. Please get in the comments so I can see what car you want to see next on the channel. And please visit my Instagram page, which is HarryTurner93. I will see you next time. Bye for now.